Welcome back, everyone, to our August one and only podcast. Sorry I missed you guys last month, but it was a fantastic podcast with Robert Craig. I really enjoyed listening to it. Did you enjoy doing it?
I did, yes. I was ably handed by Scott and Jack, so that was interesting. It was
very good.
Yeah.
And I was on my holidays that didn't work out to be fantastic holidays, but it was great. We went to Tyree, but we had to cut them short because Hazel lost her sight in her left eye.
Poor Hazel.
Yeah. So
she on the mend now.
She on the mend. It was good, but a big shout out to everybody in Tyree because they were awesome people. Hazel's friend that she hadn't seen for many, many years. Their last, I think, maybe not their last trip, but that was Julie, who she was in New York City with on 9/11 on that day. So I think they were actually going over quite a few trips that they've had together that didn't just work out perfectly. So and a big thanks to those guys for looking after Hazel when she was not well. And also, I did say that I would mention the people on Tyree are awesome people. It's a great island, but they've no veterinarian at the end of this month. So
no vet?
No vet. The vet retires in the end of August.
Oh, God.
And if I was a vet, I would go to Tyree because it is a beautiful island. So any young budding vets or any vets that just want to...
How big is Tyree?
It's not big. I think
how many people, or what are we talking here?
Is there 600 people? 700 people?
Oh, okay.
12, I think it's 12 miles, but beautiful white beaches, good farms, great livestock, but there's an opportunity there for someone to be a vet.
I wonder if you can get your nails done over there, because one of my friends married a lad
your
from
nails.
Tyree. Yeah, and she moved over to the island, obviously, and she couldn't get her nails done over there.
Well, that would be
That's
horrendous.
a disaster.
I'm starting to sweat already. No, but it was really, really nice. They had the music festival, and it was good.
Very nice, very nice. Did you bring any gin back? Is there not a nice Tyree gin?
There is a distillery which we never got to. Well, lots of what we were meant to do we didn't get to, but
nightmare.
There is a distillery.
Just came back, and your kids are on holiday now, are they?
Yes, they're going back. When do the kids? They go back at the 21st of August, so their holidays are nearly up.
Have they been doing anything exciting on their holidays?
Yeah,
lots.
lots.
Have you done any exciting trips? Not been down to the lakes or anything like that?
We've been down to the lakes quite a lot. Down last week. I think Isaac's going to be doing some trips in the lakes this week on his own with his pals.
It's to be really nice weather this week.
Yeah.
Really hot, I think, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's been good.
Very good.
What about you?
I don't really know. I know we say this every month, but when did we record the last one? It was mid
early July.
Was it early July?
Mid-July.
Yeah. I don't really know.
I was in Ireland judging Clocker Valley Show, which was a really nice show.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Who was your champion?
Champion was Ashley Fleming with a really nice young Jersey cow.
Beautiful.
That was interbreed. And reserve was a nice cow from Jason Booth. Going back to Cyril Downing's herd from Dublin. So, yeah, two really nice young cows.
Very good. We had Dumfries Show last 2 weeks
ago. I really enjoyed Dumfries Show.
I love Dumfries.
My favourite show of the year.
It is a really good show. Really, really good show. Very busy. It was very, very warm. Everyone was very sociable.
And, there was a lot of... It was the National Shorthorn Show.
Yeah, 60.
And the dairy classes were fantastic at Dumfries again.
They were good, yeah.
Michael won with his late night Shiana, just an awesome young cow. So
yeah, I would like to see more in the coloured sections, though. I wish people would support
the jerseys.
There was lots of little. There was a few jersey calves in the showmanship and things like that, but because they clash with the breed classes,
they couldn't.
You can't do both.
But there must have been nearly 90 head of dairy, wasn't there? There was a lot of. Yeah,
the showmanship and stuff's massive. That intermediate class is huge.
Was there 23 in the intermediate class? Yeah, it was a big class.
Very hotly contested.
Andrew Nielsen did a great job on the showmanship.
He did. I think everyone enjoyed it. I went for lunch with the 3 judges and they seemed to enjoy their time down at Dumfries.
Yeah, with really nice judges for Dumfries. Richard, that was the first time you met Richard Saxby.
Yeah.
He's a good guy, isn't he?
Very nice lad. And then they had Brian Weatherup Jr.
That's right.
No kilt.
With his beard trimmed.
With his beard trimmed, yes.
Shorter beard. I like your beard, Brian.
So, yeah, no, that's kind of show season is about 2 or 3 more shows, I think, left to go. And then that'll be show season finished up.
We finished with Westmoreland, isn't it? Westmoreland's our last show.
Yeah, and we'll have Ulster and things like that before that. But Yeah, it seems to fly in.
So, our guest this month is normally behind the lens, the famous Jane Steele, photographer extraordinaire. Welcome, Jane.
Thank you. Nice to be here. A bit nervous.
She didn't take much encouragement at all to come.
It's the understatement of the year.
But I suppose I've known you for a long time, Jane. I'm 30 this year, so at least for 5 years.
That makes me 20. That makes me 21 in England,
No, I
doesn't
think
it?
I think I've known you for 30 years since
Yeah.
you started. I think I met you when you were training with Sheila.
Yeah.
But I suppose most people who are not in the pedigree business and maybe in the show business won't know you.
No.
They'll know you from your famous signature on all the sort of code and genus brochures. So, who is Jane Steele?
Well, I get that a lot. They say, "Oh, we see your pictures and we see your name, but we don't know. I've never seen your face." Jane Steele. As I say, I'll be doing this 30 years next year. And right back, my background is dairy. I stay up near Loch Lomand, Kipculloch Farm, and prefix Kipculloch Holsteins, and that's where it all started. So we've always been pedigree dairy at home. Usual chores, feeding the calves when you come back from school, and then when you got older, feeding the calves before you went to school.
Yeah.
So yeah, we sort of showed locally, did have some nice pedigrees, bought some embryos, families from Canada, whatever, and established the herd. Dad has always bought his first pedigree animal in the 50s, so it's been a long-established herd. So yeah, growing up with that great childhood, we showed locally, went to all the shows, which would be at the time Drimmen, Gargunnock, Stirling, which sadly there's
They're
very
gone,
few.
I'm sure.
There's a few dairy. I judged Drimmen this year, and I think I had 5, with that being calves and whatever. And it used
But
to
back
be
then it would have
massive
been
shows.
packed, wouldn't it?
Massive. So yeah, that was my background. Showed a couple of times at the Highland with some success. So that's what it started. So that's my background. I then left school and went in to work for the Bank of Scotland for 12 years. So yeah, I did that for 12 years, like a lot of farmers' daughters into the bank and whatever, worked locally, worked around about the area. And I was quite lucky. I enjoyed the bank. I was quite lucky. I was always the one, there was always staff required to go to the Highland or the Royal Show as it was then, and latterly Aguscott.
You got to do that.
So I made sure I bagged that. And especially Aguscott, you went there with your uniform and your kilt on, and you got into the rings to present the prizes, particularly at Aguscott, because they were main sponsors. So I always blagged the Holstein ring so I could watch the judging, and then I was there to present the first prizes. So yeah, so that was a good part of working in the bank. And then probably 12 years in, and I thought it became such hard sell and targets and things different to what it used to be. So I looked around and I thought, okay, I want to maybe start photographing cows. So that was 94-ish. That all sort of came about, and a bit naive. Thought I could have a business and I could photograph cows in Scotland, but latterly it's mostly travelling now. There is herds in Scotland, but not enough to have a full time. We used to, if we wanted somebody up, it was always Norman Walker come up and photographed at home. So I rather naively thought, oh well, there's nobody doing it in Scotland, I'll do that. So yeah, that sort of started in 95.
And then who did you train with?
I trained with Sheila, really fortunate. I got in contact with somebody, I didn't know Sheila Metcalf. Sheila Metcalf was photographing based in the north of England, and she in turn had trained with Patty Jones out in Canada. So that's where she started. So I got somebody that I knew got in contact with Sheila for me, and fair play to Sheila, she'd never met me, never heard of me. She invited me down and I spent a few days with her. Just to see what it was all about, if it was what I really wanted to do, because at this point I was still had a good job and I'd worked up in the bank. I was an investment advisor doing that sort of thing, and whether that was the way to go. So I worked in more or less 9 to 4, took any holidays and things, spent time with Sheila weekends working with her before I took the plunge and thought, yeah, I really want to do this. So I packed my job in February 95 so I could work at the old, which was the old Holstein show in February, the BHS one. And that's where it all started. So yeah, I spent the summer of 95 with Sheila. And then I started the first animal I pictured an invoice for myself was January 96. So that's coming up.
And what was that event?
It was a calf I did for Jimmy Hodge at Leamington. And it was a ghost. There you go.
That's nice.
See, that's the sad thing. I can't remember people's names, Glyn, but I can remember cows' names.
The 1995 National
Holstein show.
Who was the champion that year?
Would that have been John Dimison's inspiration cow? I'm not. I'd have to look
just
back.
trying to remember who
Round
that
about
was.
there. But that
Raider Cinnamon or not? No?
No, I thought, no, because
No,
I
she was
pictured her on Farm myself later.
Okay,
so that was, I wondered if it was was it the inspiration, John's
Could
cow?
have
Is
been.
it the Veil, was it? Or
Yeah.
what was she?
Could have
I
been her.
can't quite remember.
just can't
But I
remember.
just knew I had to make the call if I wanted to go
Do
to
it.
that show picture. So February 95 is when everything changed for me, and then the rest is history, as they say. And I don't regret leaving the bank. I always remember when I handed in my notice, they'd no idea that it was blindsided them. And I always remember one of my bank managers said to me, "Oh, she'll be back. This will never work. She'll be back."
But it's quite a big, it's a massive move, Jim, doing that. But that's obviously a really good job.
It is. And one of the reasons for moving is I'm an outside person. I always worked on the farm, still do. And it was just being office based and whatever. And that was probably one of the biggest motivators to go. I wanted to be outside. I wanted to work outside.
Did your mum and dad encourage you to do it?
Not really, no. Because actually I have a younger sister. She's 6 years younger. And she worked in the bank as well. And within a year, we both bailed out the bank. And I remember my father saying to somebody, "You think you've got them settled in good jobs and they go up and do this." So she bailed. She went to the police and she's now a police officer in Australia.
Oh, wow.
And I went. So within a year, we both bailed out of the Bank of Scotland.
Yeah,
and
I've met Margot a couple of times.
So she's now out in Adelaide, and out there, and I started, and we both bailed out, which father just couldn't understand.
But banking did at that
totally
time
changed.
made a complete change in being a service-based industry
Yes,
to being
to sales.
target-driven and
I
sales.
was just saying, the bank I was with, they just tied up to one company. So if you were giving investment advice, it was just their products. And I used to get elderly ladies or men in and whatever. I said, "Listen, just go to the post office, okay?" I wasn't meant to say that, but you were that's the way the banks went. It was all sales. They tied to one company and it was their products and their products only and whatever. And I wasn't enjoying it. So that's when I thought, okay, this is what I really want to do.
Where did your passion come from, though, for
As
the
I say,
photography side?
It was not.
something
I
you'd always
learned
had
it.
an
It was
interest
working
in?
with the cows. It was working with the cows and working with good cows more than the photography. And then, so yeah, I learnt the photography I've no formal training in photography, but I've done so many online courses and courses like photographers run courses and whatever. And I've just learned as and what I've needed to. I'm not an expert photographer. I'm not a technical photographer. Probably fly by the seat of my pants half the time. But it was all the cow. Working with cows, I know cows, I do quite a bit of judging, and it was just knowing cows and to get the best from cows and best angle on cows and that was what drove the whole thing. And I just learnt photography as and when. I spent time with other photographers that weren't in the agricultural field but learn about lighting because I do set up a studio and lights at a show. So I learned as I needed to do that and then eventually I was late in going digital. That was a big thing I put off going because I was film. When I started it was film cameras.
That's what I was going to ask. Did you enjoy what aspect? Do you enjoy the film or the digital? What is the best? What is the best?
Oh, digital, but I was so hesitant.
To
and
change.
it was a big jump. It was like obviously the computer side, the Photoshop. It was a whole learning curve.
Editing and all
yeah,
that kind of stuff.
That was the whole thing because you had your film and your camera, and you took it to the lab. I used a lab in Lancaster, developed it there, and you knew what you had, and you picked it, and you couldn't do what you can do.
I remember helping Jen a couple of times back in the film days where you were like, say it was today's a bit dull, and then you had this little glass slide that you slid in for the blue sky, and
all the filters and things.
And a couple of times we had to be creative. Where I remember was it one day I was helping you at Ashley's where we pinned flowers.
We did,
to
actually. That was a spring shot. He had a tree that was in blossom, beautiful pink blossom, and he wanted his jersey. He had a imported cow. She went 96 points, the lady cow from Canada. Yeah. And she'd gone, so we had this idea, I wanted this blossom tree with a cow under it, and that was fine, but underneath were all dead daffodils, and they were all wilted. So we went, and we sent his wife, Linda, to the shop, and all she came back with some pink flowers. She couldn't get daffodils or anything. So we had cocktail sticks in the end of the flower, and we're digging them in. We're all cutting out the dead daffodils, but the leaves were still there. So we had some colour and not. So yeah, we did that, and we got the shot. And to be honest, when they redid their kitchen, they've got a big slate scene in front of their cooker, and it is that shot.
That picture.
And there's a guy over there. Can make it on slate, and it's on. So yeah, they've had that shot, and it's used a lot, that shot. Yeah, but those were the days when everything was, you couldn't do anything by Photoshop.
You had to be creative.
And it's the same in the winter. You still worked in the winter and you would try and work in soggy, wet fields and whatever. Yeah. Whereas now you can work in the concrete, you can put a background in, and it's so much easier. You don't have to walk miles to get to a solid field or a field with a nice background. But those were the days that we were sinking in fields. Yeah.
Getting the lawn, getting the grass cut in the field.
We did.
But it's a lot
and then
easier
you just
now.
have to take your chance then with the photos that you get.
Yeah,
because obviously you can't see them immediately.
No, you couldn't. There's only one day I went, I took my film into lab and David phoned me, he said, Jane, there's nothing on these films. I said, you're joking.
Goodness.
I said, there can't be. Where have they gone? He said, there's nothing on your films, Jane. And what it is, it had been, my shutter hadn't been opening, and it was a manual camera. So obviously the shutter in your camera opens to let the image through and the light in. And it had broken, but I had no way of knowing that wasn't working.
No.
So, fair play. So I phoned the farmer and he was fine. So I went back the next week and did it free of charge for him. and actually it probably helped because the cows were probably more haltered in a week's time than what I had got them on that day. So, that was a lesson. So that is the beauty. You don't have those issues. And I remember... one of all the playing, I don't know if you remember. Do you remember Tim Harding, Glyn?
Yes.
It was filmed.
Tim was
Critchell, away down in Dorset, and he was selling up, and it was a big day, and there was cows going everywhere, and like you were constantly changing film. There was a lot of cows to do, and it was just hectic, and cows running everywhere, to be honest. And
Tim was quite posh.
Tim was quite posh. And
hello, chummy.
Yes.
I remember saying to me, hello, chummy.
And there was one, and I knew I'd done it. I said, right, okay, take the cow away. And I thought, no, this doesn't feel right. Looked in, I hadn't changed my film. I'd taken the film out, got distracted, and hadn't put a new film in. But I caught it before the cow went away. And every time I met Tim, I'd be picturing somewhere, and I'd be over my camera, and this voice would come my ear. Have you got a film in, Jane?
Have you got the film in, Jane?
Every time, and it always remained. And it's only fortunately, it was the only time that I'd done that. But I just knew the way the camera was winding on. I thought, no, this doesn't feel right. And so I got the cow back before it was milked, and I didn't lose it. But to this day, he never let me forget that. So yeah.
How many thousands of pictures and cows have you taken?
I have no idea, Glyn. And I get asked that all the time. How many cows do I do in a year? What have I done? And I could do it, because every single file is there. But you've got the whole thing. I could if I had probably a week to get it down or whatever. The current stuff, like since you've been digital, you could probably count up. Never have done, but
photography's taking you all over.
I have
world.
been.
We're like, tell us a few of the interesting.
Where was your first international post?
Germany.
Germany.
And it came. I wasn't really majorly up and running actually at that point. I was still with Sheila, and I got a call from Han Holtman. The deal I had with Sheila, I paid her a fee because she had paid Patty Jones a fee, and she tied me up for 3 years. Anything in Scotland or out with Scotland was mine. Everything else, I gave her a percentage for 3 years. That was the deal we worked out, and that was fine. So Han Holtman phoned me up, and he had been double booked to go and work in Germany, an area called around East Germany. It was Dresden, Leipzig.
That was Dr. Edmund Bradley.
Yes, Dr. Bradley. It was Sächsische Rinders. SRV it was called. It was Saxony area. Saxony area of Germany. The Old East. And it was amazing. And they became my best customers. So Han phoned me up out the blue, and I was totally green. Hadn't really done that much. And he phoned me, says, Jane, I've double booked. Can you go and help me out? And like the confidence you had at that age, 30, yeah, no problem.
So how old were you at the time?
Well, I would be late 20s, probably early 30s. Yeah, when did I finished the bank probably when I was 27, 28. So yeah, it was only probably a year after that. Never been to this, but never really been to Germany. Sure. I packed my bags, took my camera, and off I went to the east of Germany. I did German in school, but a few words. But you do 2 years when you're doing O level or O grade or whatever it is, and that's a distant memory. So off I went, really brave Jane, out there, and it was the best. The cows were wild. The cows weren't great, but they were such nice people. And it was an eye-opening experience, but they were great for what you did, and I went on with it. And I went out laterally. I went for 10 plus years. They then get taken over by Masterrind, and they use the German photographer, but I did all the work. I was out there for 5 or 6 times a year, a week. For years I went out there. They became my best customers. And
But back then, 30 years ago, Gina, I remember working there 30 years ago, and there were still in the navy tunics back then. A lot of the people that hadn't moved on to Western clothing.
No, a lot of it.
The Berlin Wall had only come down not long before that.
A lot of them were
3 or 4
still
years
the big
before that.
farms. There weren't
Yeah,
many
the
family
big state
farms at that
farms,
point. They were
yeah.
all big state farms, and you went in there, and the cow was there, and whatever. Yeah, and it was mostly women that did all the milking, and it was a lot of women employed, which is probably way ahead. But it was a lot of the women that did all the work around the cows and everything, and the
But they
men
were
did
lovely
field work.
people.
Super people, hard work, and that was their life. But they still were a lot of the big, massive farms and great land.
Amazing.
But yeah, still.
So what was the purpose of the photos that you were taking?
They were daughter pictures of the bulls. That's when they had their own bull stud, and that was to go in their bull brochure. And they had a show, and I went to do the show pictures. But that was the time before genomics, really, when they still needed daughter pictures to go into brochures for the proven bulls, and mostly
And
proven
then
bulls.
I remember they used to do big progeny groups as well.
Yes,
show-
they did.
show
They had
groups
it. They
as
had their
well,
big.
which was massive
They had their big
for-
show, and it still is a little bit in Europe.
Yeah.
It never really took off here. But they would bring groups of progeny of 5 or 6 bulls of their current bulls, and then they would bring 5 or 6 daughters of these bulls
And it
into
would have got-
shows.
I remember back then, thousands of farmers
oh,
that came to see these
yeah.
daughter groups.
Yeah,
like
Really?
it was big shows, massive shows,
Massive.
and on a par, like held in massive exhibition halls like they do Telford here now. That sort of it was a big show, massive trade stands, implement stands, everything. They were really big shows, but a lot of cows.
Yeah.
That was my first trip. Probably still 95. That was actually. And they became really, really customers and really, really good friends. I met, in fact, I have a goddaughter out there. I made great friends out there. They looked after you really, really well. And
So did you go out there regularly every year?
I was out there
thereafter?
for 5. I haven't been out for some time now, but you would meet them at international shows. I would still, they would come over here to Dairy Day and whatever, and we'd keep in touch that way. So no, I'm massive friends, and yeah, it was good. It was an experience. It wasn't always the best heifers. You were running after, like you do anywhere. You're running after heifers across fields. But yeah, it was just, they were the good old days. And then I got a chance to work. I've worked all over, but I got a chance to work in Spain, and that was really good. I worked for HHIB, which was based up in Bilbao in the north of Spain for 5 or 6 years. Same thing, going in to do daughters of the bull stud, did the bulls at the stud, and did a few shows.
They had a couple of very famous bulls.
Yeah, they had duplex. I did some of the first duplex daughters, and they were really good. So yeah, but it was just really interesting in the contrast because I was doing them both at the same time. And when you went to Germany, they picked you up at 5 o'clock in the morning. The minute it was light, and you got as many as you could do in a day around the farms, and you finished about 7 or 8 o'clock at night. It was big days. It was You were out to maximise the week I was there and do as many daughter pictures or cow pictures as I could in the time. When you went to Spain, they picked you up about 10 o'clock. You did one cow, you stopped for a coffee. And then you did another cow, and then you had a 2-hour lunch with alcohol, wine usually. And then you maybe did another cow. And it was just the complete contrast of working for 2 companies and 2 different sort of, just the way the country is.
And it hasn't changed.
No, it hasn't changed.
That's Europe.
Yeah.
Complete different cultures in their work.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say work ethic because the Spanish work hard, but they work
Yeah,
differently.
no, definitely. I just kept saying, are you sure you're only going to pick me up at 10 o'clock? Do we have no more cows to do today? It was just the first time I went there. It was, but yeah, and the whole, just eating, dining, they always looked after me, and they took me to fabulous restaurants to try all these different foods. So yeah, I tried snail, I tried everything. Frog's legs, I've done every part of an animal type thing. One of the times I went to Spain, we stopped for lunch, and they translated it because in Germany, a lot of my generation spoke English, and that wasn't really an issue. In Spain, they didn't, so they translated that this was pork. They were trying all these things in the menu, and the first thing they said, "Oh, this is pig." I said, "Oh, I can cope with that." So what came out was the leg, the trotter attached to everything. And I took one look at it, and I said, "You have to take that away. That is making me ill." The whole trotter and everything was still attached to this bit of the leg. I just asked them to take it away. I thought, that's going to make me ill. I'm going to vomit. I can't eat that. So yeah, the places I've been, my biggest regret is you flew in, you did your work, and you left. I didn't take time on hindsight, the age I've got to now. I wish I'd taken an extra day or so. But say one of the best trips I went to I went for a week. Spain was usually 2 or 3 days, but they asked me for a week. And I flew down to the south, flew into Seville. And then we went south, and the whole week we worked our way up the whole middle of Spain.
Beautiful,
and it was beautiful. Cordoba, then Seville, round Madrid, and then ended up Barcelona, San Sebastian, away up the top. And the whole week we just travelled up, stopped for a few cows, but it was just, you saw the different different types of agriculture, the different types of land. You were in fabulous through the wine country, through.
It's almost like different countries.
It
Spain.
is actually,
You know,
because you're down by the coast and it's flat. Then you go into really rocky ground, which was where the cows were. And then you would go through the vineyards, and then more grain, and then there'd be cows. But most of the cow population is up in the north. It's around Bilbao, San Sebastian, Barcelona, which is higher ground. The cows were on the hills. And the systems were different there, because the first day I ever went there, I went to, before robots were really massive here, and it was a big fancy new shed with 6 robots. And I thought, wow, is this farming in Spain? I thought, wow. And then the next farm we went to, it was just a house. And I'm thinking, where's the cow? And then underneath the house, this cow was brought out in a halter, and he had 12 cows tied under the barn was under the house. Yeah, so I just thought, because I thought, let's say the first place I thought, wow, is this Spain? It's not what I expected. And then this was the contrast. The cow came out, 12 cows under the house, and that was it.
How far afield have cows taken you then across the world?
Everywhere. Do you know, that was, I won't say it gave me pleasure because it makes me a bad person, but I used to go into the bank I work with and I order all these currencies. I'm going here now. Bye, guys. How are you doing? How's life in the bank? Oh, can I have? And that makes me sound. So, yeah, I actually worked in Australia. I got a chance to work in Australia. I got a call. I initially turned it down before my sister, because I go out every year now because my sister lives there, but before she went, this was years, and it was Genetics Australia, and they're based around around Shepparton, around Melbourne, around that way. And they phoned me. They used to be tied in with Holland Genetics, the Dutch company, and it was always the Dutch photographers they used. And then they broke off with that. So they were looking for a photographer. They didn't want to continue using the Dutch. So I don't know how I got it, but I got an email saying, could I go out? But they initially wanted to meet November, December. So I turned it down because November I have Argoscott, December I have the Winter Fair in Northern Ireland. I'm committed to those shows and I wasn't going to ditch them. So I turned it down. So they came back and said, will you do January, February? And I thought, yeah, quite as time for me.
Perfect.
So yeah, I went out I was 2 weeks out there for Genetics Australia. And it was totally different. So yeah, I did. It was brilliant. And they gave me a little Genetics Australia van, and they drive on the same side of the road, so it's fine. So I had my freedom. Weekends, I did the Great Ocean Road, or I could actually see the country. But when you worked out there, it was the same. You went on, cows weren't really handled. There wasn't, like, you just had to go and get what you could, drag a cow. So you would rock up at the farm, which would be just a shed, because they didn't have buildings out there, nothing was inside, and the cow would be left in a collecting area at the back of the parlour for you. So that was fine. So you had to catch it. I'd probably never seen a halter. You had to, it maybe had been clipped, because maybe it had been a halter because I think a team from Genetics Australia or somebody had gone ahead and clipped them for you. So you had to go in and wash it, and then you had to literally lasso it, drag it to a bit of ground and picture it. And that was fine. And the one thing I found really hard is all the tails were off. And do you know, it's really weird. You're taking these pictures and the tails are docked. And you think, I kept thinking, I'm missing something. There's something missing here. But there was no tails on them. So that was fine.
Were they docked short or just the switch?
No, docked quite short,
docked
actually.
short.
So they didn't have it because the flies and whatever. They didn't have to. And I'm taking these pictures and I think, I just don't feel this is right. It's because I didn't have a tail.
The switch?
Because the switch
gives quite a bit of balance to the picture, doesn't it?
It does. Essentially, if your cow's legs are maybe not the best, a good tail on it will hide your legs a little bit, cover the leg, cover the hawk, cover. So it is a useful tool. So that took me, but invariably, they would run away for you with a leather halter on it. And I said, do we not have to go and catch that? Oh, it's fine. I've got a bag of leather halters, and we just go round at the end of the day, round the farms, and when the cow comes in for milk, and we get the halter off it. So that is why I did question why they had so many leather halters in the boot of the car. And that, do you know, it was an amazing attitude. Nice. It was a lovely attitude. That was their attitude. It's no problem, Jane. Don't worry about it. And I do remember Sherry Martin was my contact. Sherry, sadly, is no longer with us. She had a cancer battle. I remember that she was such a blunt, she's a lovely girl, Sherry, and she was just really blunt Australian. And the first time I turned up there, and I had Timberland boots to work in, and she goes, oh, for God's sake, I'm taking you shopping. And I got my first pair of Blundstones because she would not wait for the time it took me to unlace my boots and lace my boots up every day. You don't need these, she said. So, yeah, we went shopping. And since that, I mean, they're talking 20 years, it'll be 20 years plus. So now I've worn Blundstones ever since because she took me because she wasn't waiting for me to lace up my Timberland boots. So, yeah, but Australia was different. I just did it 1 year, but it was brilliant. And I got to travel, and I had the time at the weekends, and I had a vehicle, and I did a lot. So it was just a one-off. And it came, I initially turned it down because I couldn't do it, and then they come back.
You've judged in Australia? You've judged
I have. I judged at Dairy Week. I did the Guernseys. There was 3 UK judges going out. Ashley Fleming did the jerseys. Morgan did the Ayrshires. So I was invited to do the Guernseys. So it was interesting. Guernseys are quite different as they are here. There's not as many, whatever. But I had a really look. I had a cow, a senior cow that had won 2 or 3 years before, and she was there. And I thought it sounds really rude, but it was the very last cow in the ring. And I thanked the guy for coming because I really needed his cow.
You needed that
and she was
champion.
a super cow. She wasn't family. She was a super cow, and she'd won for the last 2 or 3 years. So, but I thanked him for coming because up to that point, I kept thinking, what am I going to go here? But yeah, one of life's experiences. I was fortunate, and I've judged out in Germany as well through the SRV when I worked for Saxony. They had a big show, and I judged out there. I always remember somebody obviously giving reasons, and they were translated, and somebody said, "But your reasons are very positive." And we're taught though they couldn't believe that you didn't say a negative, and but I says that's the way it should be. And when you're brought up through young farmers, well, it's more maybe descriptive, but through the young breeders and hosting young breeders, everything is a positive reason.
points.
It's always a positive. You say.
So in Europe or in the rest of the world, do they give both sides? Do they give the pros
I
and
don't know
cons?
now. I think it's all more or less
North America,
gone.
Canada's definitely positive.
Yeah.
Some of the American ones
Yeah.
will point out the odd negative one, but generally 90% of it's a positive
Yeah,
reason.
but that's what.
Yeah.
The girl could have been translating anything. I don't know what she was saying, but one or two people said, "Oh, your reasons are very positive," and they're maybe used to it there. But I mean, we're talking years ago. So yeah, I went out there, but I worked in Australia and I judged out there. I've worked in Spain. I've worked in France. I went to France for a number of years for Ursio at the time. That was another experience because the way they were very, very organised, and rather than going around spend your time, which I found quite tiring. See, when you do one cow, jump in a car, next cow, I find that tiring on yourself rather than going one place and just doing a lot of cows. It's a tiring thing. But they were really well organised in France. They would get a sort of an old farmsteading and they would float all their cows in there. It was a major operation. The cows had come in maybe a day or so, 2 days before. They were all clipped there. They were washed there. They were fed and filled and a massive team of people in to picture. So you would do 20, 30 odd cows in a day. It had all been shipped in. But it was a massive operation and the number of people they needed to run that. But it ran really well. I rocked in day 3. And just stood behind the camera and firing. And then there was trucks coming in. Once that batch was done, they were trucked out. So by the end of the day, most of them had gone.
Hi, I'm David. I'm the Head of Agriculture for H&H Insurance Brokers. We are a successful business rooted in Cumbria. We've looked after farmers in the north of England and the south of Scotland for almost 40 years. So every day we work with farm and rural businesses just like yours who in turn are working hard to produce the food required for our tables. We act as a trusted advisor to our clients in the same way that you would turn to a solicitor or an accountant to give you good, quality, expert advice. We always take the time to get to know you and your business, allowing us to have an in-depth understanding of what you need to plan for the future and to provide the best advice possible. Our team of experienced account executives use their knowledge of the insurance industry to advise you on any potential threats and risks. As an independent broker, we have access to a wide range of insurance providers, which enables us to find the right product for you at a competitive price. You can always be assured that you will receive a personal and first-class service. In fact, you could say we are the exact opposite of a faceless call centre. Insurance is about more than just planning for future events. It is about having the peace of mind that your business is protected when something goes wrong, which means you can focus on the things that matter the most. We're here to do just that. So next time your insurance renewals are due for your farm or your business, please give us a call and we can see what we can do for you. We'll meet up and have a chat. Call us on 01228 406 290.
Maybe that's one thing we should explain to people because obviously we just take it for granted that everyone understands what work is into actually getting a side portrait of a cow or a grazing shot.
100%.
So explain that process because a lot of people will see the Cogent brochure or the Genus brochure and say, well, that's a nice picture, but they don't actually see all of the chaos that goes to getting that picture. Maybe you should explain how many people.
Most of the work is done before I actually physically turn up on farm, or it has to be. I'm not saying it always is, but no, you would speak to somebody and they say, well, first thing they need to get a halter. They need to get it tied up, and with Photoshop is a bit more forgiving. But I have had to do them tied to a gate, but at least they will stand on a halter. Yeah. But they need ideally to be halter trained that you can handle them, take them to a spot, get them on a board, or get them in position and be
So
able
do you
to
raise
move.
what do you put them with their front feet up at the side?
For side portraits, which is more for like the old Britain thing now. A lot of even sale catalogues are feeding shot or natural shots, and that's the way it's going and for Facebook. But for the All Britain Awards and things, and still for catalogues, you want your cow to have a rise up in its front end. That's fashion. That's fashion. It's come from Canada. It's come from America. Just you don't want them shooting to the stars, but you want a cow just to have. A cow naturally will rise up. You don't need much. You just want that little elevation at the front end, just to show a front end, to show presence on the front end, really. Different heights aboard. Some cows don't need certain heights, just to give you that enough elevation. You don't want a cow to sort of slope down the front end. And so it's fashion. It's the way it's always been. You need it to be able to stand that. You need to be able to go in and touch a cow's feet. And some cows have never really these big you'll go into a lot of commercial farms to do test daughters, and their lifestyle they'll be in a parlour, they'll be put out and whatever. They're different. I find different farms. I'd find the temperaments of cows different in different places, and it's usually how they're handled. So I do need it handled in some way that we can get near it, that it will stand in a halter, preferably walk on a halter. Although sometimes that doesn't happen. And then it has to be clipped ahead of us. And it has to be washed before I get there, and then full of milk, like you do for a show.
Yeah.
You just probably miss the morning milking and get milk on it. You want that done.
You need to move the feet into the correct position.
But you want all that done because you don't want to be clipping that morning or whatever, because the cow's not going to make milk for you or whatever. So ideally that has the clipping and maybe one wash or something. So all you're doing in the morning before I turn up is a quick wash and she's good to go. And I need a team. I need somebody, usually ideally 4 people, not including me. And then, so you have somebody to hold it, somebody either side of it, somebody can do back, feet and tail, and somebody shaking a bucket in the front. So it's not a one-man job, and it's definitely my job. Yes, like it's my name in the pictures, but it's definitely a team picture. And more so than ever, when I set up at shows, like I do Expo, I do Dairy Day, I do Argoscope, I go in and set up a studio. I have a big screen, I set up lights, but I bring a team in because the cows are just queuing up, and to have a different team where the owners come with their own cow and like you're showing people how to move legs every time. So no, I've got a great team of people over the years, different people that have gone to work with me and different people. And I get a team. So everybody, the breeders the last couple of years, there's a team of lads that come in from Cork, because it is hard to get people over here because they're usually prepping cows or involved in the shows over here. But there's some young lads that farmer sons from Cork, and they're brilliant, and they come in and they help me. And
really nice temper.
Really nice thing, yeah.
Do you just direct them? On what you're seeing
they come
like
there's a cow queue. They'll come in. They'll get in. They'll be spraying it, cleaning it, whatever, and it goes straight on the board. I direct them, more or less stay behind the camera, and we can put through a lot of cows in a day, and it's no stress, and it's a service.
Back, right, forward, one inch.
Yeah, lift the head to me. Yeah,
you do it for Jim?
Yeah,
back left.
I was always on the back legs and tail.
You need somebody really calm. It's quite interesting, and it is. There's certain people. It is actually.
Really calm?
There's certain people are better in certain positions, and back legs is like most folk. Back legs, you have to be quite calm and quite quiet around the back legs, because it is probably the hardest position to be able to do, because if you go to the back left, it'll swing to the right. If you go to the right, it swings to the left. A cow will swing you. So you do have to be. I do find that different temperaments and different people are better in different positions. But
quite often he was on the halter as well.
Yeah, that's a big time. It's a difficult one. When they come into a show, I like to leave them. It's their cow on the halter. But after a couple of times, I have to just kick them off, and I'm saying, I'm really sorry, but I want to get the best picture of your animal, and I'll put one of the lads on it. Because you have to be quite... If you go into a cow, it's going to move a front foot, it's going to come forward. You have to somebody that's going to be quite strong and keep that cow steady for you on the halter.
I used to photograph with Paddy Jones loads when I worked at like different people, but a lot when I worked at Cormdale for Albert Cormier, we had big days with Paddy, and Albert was on every single cow.
Yeah,
but I used to just watch, like he was in all. He was in every single. If you look at all the famous cows, But he stood exactly the same way every time. And then I tried to replicate what Albert
Yeah,
did.
well, and it's true. There's certain people that I work with that I would have in the halter all the time. It's not possible, but there's certain people just natural. They have a calm way of a cow. A cow relaxes with them, and it makes the team around you is the whole part, and especially the halter person. Yeah. I always remember it was a couple of shows ago. The young Irish lads, Stephen on the far side, and he's making the substitute sign to me, like. Yeah, I didn't know what that meant. Like running your fingers around like that, a substitute
like
sign.
The manager will do this, like
that.
change the player.
That means change the player, and I didn't know that. So he's on the far side.
So what did you think he was trying to say?
I didn't know. I'm looking at him. So it wasn't until that cow went away, because he kept going like this to me, and he's on the far side of the cow he's looking over the top line of the cow, giving me that sign. And I'm going, I don't know what he means. What's wrong with the cow? What, is the feet not right or something? So anyway.
Sore tummy?
Yeah. So anyway, we got the cow away, and I'm going, Stephen, he says it meant substitute. Get the guy off the halter. He's useless. So yeah.
So now you know that?
Yeah. I never knew what that sign was. It was a cow who were really struggling, and he's like, he's not at all, and he's over the top of the cow giving me this sign.
You're not a football fan then?
No, I didn't know what
fan.
it meant, so I had to say, what were you meaning? So now I know, and that happens quite a lot now. Now they're all laughing. They all give me the sign. So but a team is a blessing. A good team's a blessing.
What's the most obscure job that you've ever
done
in your life?
Yes, I have
one. Oh my
one.
God, what
I have one.
Go on then.
And it was years ago. It was pre-digital, and it was actually beef. I did the odd beef animals before Catherine. Before Catherine came along, the two Catherines came along, because obviously I'm a bit older. I used to go when I went to Beef Stud. If I went into Genus or Cogent, I also did the beef bulls, because there wasn't really anyone doing beef at that point. So I did both at that point. But beef, dairy is my background, and I didn't really know enough about beef. So anyway, I got a call. I'm not going to say who it's from.
Go on.
No,
go on. No, okay, that's fair enough.
No, I'll tell you later. Most folk will know, because I have been asked this story before. I got called to go and do a Belgian blue bull on a farm just at Tamworth above Birmingham. I said, yeah, okay. I've been asked to do obscure things. I do. I'm that attitude. I get a random request, and I thought, I'll give it. I've always been like that. I don't know about this, but I'll give it a bash, or I'll do it. So anyway, I went on this farm, and the bull was there, and I don't know about them, but good bull or whatever, really placid bull. So we went out into the field, obviously pre-digital, got the field, got all the shots and whatever. So I was ready to pack up, and I'll just say his name's Phil. And Phil said, wait a minute, Jane, we've got some more shots we want to do. I said, all right then, okay. And I knew nothing about this. He said, I've hired a model, he said. And he said, my slogan is, I want to have, do the figures match up? And I'm going, oh gosh. Okay. And I just thought, really? And I just wasn't getting it. So anyway, in the field come these two ladies, one of them in high heels, tottering across the field, and another lady. And I kept thinking, is this candid camera? What's going on here? So this was a model they'd hired from some agency and whatever. And she started to strip off. And I'm going, oh, my God, I do not believe I'm doing this. So anyway, she took off her top, and she had a bikini top on. And she obviously, our jeans were sort of undone, and she had bikini bottom. And she goes, well, I take off my jeans. I'm going, no, it's agricultural shot. Just keep your jeans on. I thought, I just couldn't believe I was doing this. So anyway, she came, fair play, she was brilliant. She was lovely. I think she was foreign.
What did she have to do? Just stand next
she was holding the bull. She had her arms around it. She was cuddling it. And then this is awesome. And then the two, she went with her hand on her rear and the bull's rear. And that was the whole slogan, do the figures match up? And she was absolutely brilliant. She had never handled an animal in life. We're fortunate the bull was really quiet, but she's cuddling, she's hugging, she's holding him. She was brilliant. But the whole time, I'm still getting goosebumps about it. I'm still getting, I feel my skin, I'm still getting that feeling about it.
Was it quite a successful?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. And so that, and I just kept thinking the whole time, I thought, this is candid camera. This isn't normal.
You're looking around for like Jeremy Bean.
I could. But anyway, in fair play, and after we got done, I have to say she was brilliant. And anyway, the other lady was our minder, obviously, whatever. And she came up, she said, we thought the way you work were brilliant. Here's my card. And if you would be interested in this kind of work, just give me a call. I'm going,
do you still have that card?
No, I don't know. I definitely don't. I definitely don't. But yeah, that is probably one of the most surreal experiences. And I'm still getting prickly feet. I'm still getting goosebumps when I'm talking about it.
Still got the photo.
I will have. I need to look back. They're ancient pictures.
That was old film day. So
that was all. I would have them because, quite often I've done some like hosting club talks and been asked to go slideshows and presentations. So it would have been in. I haven't done one for years, but I would find it. And yeah, because that's obviously, probably is there's loads of things that have happened to me, loads of places I've gone. It's been brilliant, but that's probably my most surreal moment. I just thought, but yeah, it was just the way she goes, do you want me to strip off? And go, no, leave your jeans on, please.
You've mentioned all those countries, but you spend a lot of time in Ireland.
I do a massive amount of work in North and South.
Yeah.
As somebody says, Jane, it's up to a point. It goes up to, I'm actually going over there again next week because it's the Bailey show and it's the Northern Ireland Calf show. Tie it in with shows and then do work on farm. And then it sort of quietens down. Then I've got just the show in Cork in October and then Winter Fair in December. But right up to this point, and there is a lot of work in Northern Ireland. But I was really fortunate, as I say, I judged the Northern Ireland Hares competition.
That's right.
Glyn's dad was my steward. We had a great day with Alistair.
He loved that,
he was telling me all these tales of Glyn as a boy.
How good I was.
Yeah, and he showed me pictures. I even got a baby picture of Glyn. We went for a coffee because we were a bit ahead of time, so we went for a coffee to kill time. So he showed me all these pictures of Glyn as a kid. So yeah, anyway. But do you know what? I did 4,500 cows in 4 days, and do you know it was amazing. I love cows.
4,500 cows.
I was judged. I do a bit of judging, and
that was.
I really enjoy that because, like, when you go on farm, there's 5 or 6 cows or whatever ready for you, and you never see the rest of the herd, and they're good cows you're doing, and I love seeing what it's like, the way they're going, what the breeding is, whatever. And it was brilliant. I was shattered by it, to be honest, but it was amazing. And the cows over there are. I mean, like, I don't know if people appreciate over here how good the herds are in Northern Ireland.
In Northern Ireland,
yeah. Great cows.
Phenomenal herds and really passionate breeders.
Oh, yeah.
And
I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that because you saw all the herds and whatever. And it was really, I came back shattered. But yeah, the quality of cows, like, it's the first time, as I say, I've been able to go, and herds that I'd never been in work-wise. And I saw great cows, met a lot of new people that I didn't know over there. So no, it was really good.
Judging herds competitions is a great way to learn. It
is, actually.
I've only done 2, but it's as you say, you get time to spend with people. And everybody's a slightly different, like, nutrition, manly.
You learn the whole system.
It's a great way to, like, go around and learn things.
Yeah, but sometimes you get, like, when you're judging, I'm just looking for evenness. I'm looking for an even type of cow. You might have good cows, but you might have big cows, wee cows, whatever. I'm looking just for a uniformity in a herd. And you'll get some will say, well, then they have to put forward their best individual heifer and their best individual cow. And they'll say, what's your heifer? Well, you pick one. Now, there's 150 cows in this field.
It's hard work.
Yeah, and I said, but some people will have them separate and ready, and they've picked them, and that's fine. Yeah. I said, okay then. So I says, well, what are you thinking? Because we've already gone round your field of 150 cows.
Give me some parameters.
Yeah, you need to. So yeah, that's a bit interesting. But no, I really enjoyed that. I thought it was really good. I've done a couple of
about, you said you have some, do you have some cows of your
Yes,
own?
I do.
Tell us a wee bit more about your own.
Yes, I do. No, I started under the Lomand prefix. I'd stay up near Loch Lomand. I thought, I've always wanted the Lomand prefix. And I got in touch with Hosting UK, and there was a Lomand prefix years ago, but they hadn't registered for 30 years. So I was able to get the Lomand prefix. So yeah, so no,
is that what happens if you don't register for a certain amount of time?
I didn't realise that.
It is. If you go to, you have to obviously a prefix, and you have to check if somebody else has got it. But yes, I don't know how long the period is, but if they haven't registered or not, and I did know who the people were, and they had sold the farm and gone, so I knew that wasn't the thing. But it's X amount of years it has to be that there's no animals registered, and then you can get that prefix.
So you got
Lomand?
So
I got Lomand, which is my prefix. And yeah, I started my own little herd within there. And picked up all PI families, bought some cows, bought a lot of embryos. I shared embryos with Hugh Nielsen Overside for years. And different people. And going back to working in Saxony, when it was my 40th birthday, yes, sadly, I've bypassed that. But
it was a good party.
It was a good party. Glenn was there. Because David Gray, you know, Great Ridge, he was 30, and our birthdays are both November, so we had a joint party because we had so many people in common. There was Irish people come over, there's people came from all over. It was a really good night. Actually, I invited some of my friends from Germany come over from there, so they come over, and the gift they gave me a calf. They gave me an Ashland calf for my birthday present, which is huge. The mother of it had sold for 18,500 euros just previously, and there was 3 embryo calves. So when the next time I was over, I got the pick of the 3. And that cow came over and she went 94 points. She has bred phenomenally well. I've sold loads of Ashlands through. As I say, at home, we've dispersed maybe, 15 years ago now and kept the young stock and just calve and sell the young stock. So everything has gone through H&H at Carlisle. And that was my highest priced animal. I sold a shottle Ashland, and it made 8,500.
Wow.
So that's going on. So that line's in Ireland now.
Yes,
Ards,
yes,
and that's
and Wolfa
been all
bought
Britain.
no, that was summer. Sorry, it's been all over. So yeah, and it's been a really strong
incredibly
line
successful.
of the Ashlands for me. And
What
I
was
still
your
got some.
foundation that you started with when you started?
Oh
your
gosh,
Lommand?
what was the first one I had? I had all family. I had Tories from Wilsondale. That was embryos that Hugh Nielsen and I shared. I had.
Did you have one from Martin Rubinson?
Yes,
from,
I did. That's probably the first from the
that white speckly.
Miriam, the Raider Miriam cow.
Raider Miriam cow.
I had a couple. I got the line Raider Wiesenfeld, Raider Miriam won the European show. Can't remember which year. So I had
2000.
an integrity sister to her. I kept in Germany and kept bringing embryos over.
Yeah.
I also had Hugh Nielsen and I bought a Rosalita, which were embryos.
That's the white speckly cow I was thinking about.
That went back, a Rudolph cow that went back to Lyle Haven in America. So yeah, I picked up embryos, I shared embryos, I picked up calves and things. So yeah, I had Tories that were Wilsondale that was shared with you. We shared embryos. We would buy embryos. We would put in the same amount each, but we'd still split the progeny in case somebody got all the bulls and the heifers. That was before sex semen, so no, it worked really, really well. What else have I had? Actually, I've gone a blank. I've quite a few families that I amassed over the years. Mm-hmm. I'm really fortunate. I keep some animals. Michael and Brian Yates keep some for me. Mm-hmm. It was a year that started. It was Michael and Brian came to me. They were really short of entries for the Scottish Calf Show, and they saw me at the show, which was the old dairy event show, which was in September at the NEC
Castle
in
Douglas?
Birmingham. No, in NEC in Birmingham.
Yes, yeah.
And they were showing. They said, "Oh, Jane, have you any calves?" We got, because we were really, really short for the Scottish Calf Show at that point, and the Scottish Calf Show now is going from strength to strength. But at that point, I said, well, there's probably one in the field. I says, let me. So this was a week before. I phoned my father from the show. I said, Dad, go and get that heifer and put a halter on it for me. But she was in good nick because she had big rib and she was still dairy and whatever. So he did, fair play he did. So I went home and I got her halter trained and I went down and I ended up with champion calf and I beat Brian and Michael into reserve place.
That wasn't their
right.
intention.
That was my first attempt. So then it went to the All Britain. It was second in its class at All Britain. And Michael always said, they said, oh, when that calf's out, we'll keep it for you, because we dispersed at home at that point. And so that was the first one. She was in Ashland and she went there, and then they kept it and they milked them for me. Maybe do calve about, and I've got Ashlands and at Yates's. So yeah, and they've been really good friends and partners to have and whatever. So yeah, but it means that I've been able to keep a few cows, and I have still a few at home, but they're getting less because we calve and sell at home and calves at foot, and there's a few still there. That means I can still keep an interest. And Michael's offered anything you want to get and whatever, you just send here, I'll look after it for you. So he's been very kind. And it still means I can still keep a few animals and things because we are at home. The dairy is definitely, we've been selling the calves at foot. The dairy is coming out. My dad's 84 and that's his passion. It's not my brother's passion or my nephew's passion. We've always had sucklers, beef, and we've always had
I'm going to be sad when the last one comes in.
It's not going to be far. We're maybe down to about 30 order. I need to have a count up, to be honest. And so yeah, we've always had sucklers and beef and sheep at home. So we've got more. My nephew's sheep daft, and if he sees a blade of grass, there's more sheep purchased and things like that. So yeah, we've got a lot of sheep and beef, and the dairy will come out. Cause it's Dad's passion, and he's 84, but he's not somewhat fit, so it will come to an end. But I've got Fortunate and David Brewster. There's one there, and there's different people that keep animals. So I'm fortunate to be able to keep going, keep a few, and
so
keep an
keep
interest.
Continue with it.
Yeah, it's an interest and enjoy it. No, your ultimate thing is to be something that you're going to win a big show with, and that is it. Yeah. Your ultimate is to win something, that I'll win a class, maybe at the Highland, or I just got a big show, or just good enough to go out to show.
To go to that, yeah.
When I first came back here to work at H&H, the first Highland show was 2004 that I worked at.
2005. Well, it wasn't we won. We won 2005.
Yeah, well, the second one maybe. And yeah.
We had
Jane's
the biggest
dad,
party ever.
Kip Collick, Rudolph Summer.
No, Tona Lee. It was an
import. Sorry,
yeah.
It was from an Canadian import.
Grand champion.
Yeah.
2005.
That was a good party.
We had the biggest party. We bought. She was a cow. As she matured, she got better. I mean, we didn't really show at the Highland. We showed locally, but anyway, we thought we got persuaded to take her out there, and we took her, and she was champion, Interbeat champion, everything, and it was the biggest party ever.
So
there's ever been, I think.
So the next big party will be when Lomand win their.
I just remember, I think the next year after that, Brian Yates's Roxy cow won. The next cow. She won the next year, and Brian came to me as he says, "Wait, Jane, they've got the ring. When does the party normally start?" I says, "Well, last year, Brian, everybody followed us back from the ring, and it started at that point and kept going." And that's what Father. I remember the days Father says. After he says, "Oh, where's the prize money from the show?" It says, "Father, that went in alcohol.
Long gone.
There is long gone." And there's I remember him asking about the prize money. He says, "No, that went in alcohol. It was long gone, and the rest." So yeah, no, that was that was 2005 and a great memory.
So 30 years photographing
Yes.
the best cows.
I've been so fortunate.
In Europe, Jane.
Yeah, all over.
You've a couple of favourite individual cows.
I always get asked that for different reasons. I've great cows and whatever, but probably the one cow that stands out is Sammy McCormick's Medway Supreme Mod, 97-point cow. And she was a great cow. She's maybe an older fashioned cow for it now, but she was a great cow. But she's the only cow that I've pictured in every lactation for 8 years.
Wow.
To do a cow every lactation right up to her 8th lactation is phenomenal. And how she
was
looked.
an amazing cow.
She was an amazing cow. She's maybe a whatever, and she's bred well. But that she stands out for that reason, because I've never ever done a cow.
You photographed her.
As a maiden,
8 lactations.
milk and heifer right through to an 8th calver.
But she was an import from Canada.
Yes.
I think Sammy bought her in the transatlantic sale
that's right.
as a yearling.
That's right. And I don't know. I still go into Sammy's picture, and I was in there 2 weeks ago, and it'd be really interesting the percentage of mods that in the herd. They have a great herd of cows, and a lot of them when you picture, this is a mod, this is a mod. So,
but she bred she bred so many high scoring excellent daughters, and then
they went on. No, it's
could half the herd be them or not?
It probably could be now. I imagine it would be now.
Come back to one cow.
I'd imagine it would be.
Yeah.
God, I can't remember, but yeah, she stands out for that. She was a great cow. She went 97 points, but for that reason alone,
an incredible I remember helping you a couple of times with her, but no, I wasn't there for. But she was a great.
Yeah, she just had
individual
presence.
personality and presence.
And that's sometimes it's really hard. If a cow's got that natural presence and style, you will get your. I don't care what you say. They need that to get your pet, like the alertness and get
that nice picture.
And like you find that sometimes it shows. Sometimes it's better doing the cows on farm. At shows, by the time they come to me, they're tired. They're full of milk. They're just a bit bomb-proof. They're not. They're hard to get a lair and whatever sometimes. But saying that, it's a great way for me to be able to set up it in shows, because it saves me going from farm to farm to farm to do one cow, 2 cow. People can come and get maybe the only cows they do in a year and get their best cows done. So it works. It's great all round. So the next show I've got my team booked, flights booked, the Irish team, and that's for Dairy Day.
Any other standout cows in the coloured variety? Because black and whites get a lot of airtime.
Yeah, no, they do.
Woodland Lucas.
No, they do.
You've
got to go to Jerseys. You've got to go Jerseys, Northern Ireland at Fleming's and Porter's Walls. Just done their cow there that went 97 points last week. The Bontino Dawn, just on her. They've got nice type of cows.
Have you done all breeds? Have you done
yes, I do all
Guernseys,
breeds.
everything?
Everything. Shorthorns. Really nice shorthorn that Ian and Wendy Collins had. There was a great cow that was winning probably 2-3 years ago. Beautiful big square cow. I can't remember her name. Was she a Wild Eyes? I can't remember. She was a great cow. Ayrshire wise. I've done lots of nice Ayrshire's. I remember go to Campbellton. Enjoy going up to Robin Bar. It's quite a journey to go way up to Campbellton, but beautiful up there. And they've got a fantastic herd of cows. And John Addison Sweets, nice type of Ayrshire cows. Do
you ever go out onto the islands or anything like that? Does your job ever take you into?
There's not many dairy cows. There is certain areas, because people say down the southeast, there's not many there. There's certain areas. I used to go to Haley's herd in Essex, and that was a major thing. You'd go to Essex, great herd of cows there, but you didn't. And maybe John Dowling, Wintersell. There's not many cows in certain areas of the country, Big Arable. And I always laugh at Matt Winter at Corringham herd. You'll see some Jane. He says, "Jane, when you're passing, pop in." Says Matt, and it's become a standing joke. No, and I need to get to him actually in the next week or two. But it becomes a standing joke. He sees me at Yorkshire. "Oh, Jane, when you're passing, just call in." And I'm not ever going to be passing.
That you mentioned, Matt.
Yeah, super herd of cows.
One of my favourite pictures you took at Riverdale. One of Matt's cows.
Yeah. Was that Beth?
The Bob Roxy.
Oh, okay, the red cow.
By the apple tree.
Yeah.
That's a lovely picture.
She was a super cow. But they had great, they're cubicles now, but they used to be big straw-bedded, very Canadian type of cows they have there. And they still have, because they've got the genetics in the frame and whatever. But it becomes a standing joke, Matt, that when you're passing, Jane, just call in. So yeah, and I say I work a lot in Ireland now, north, but south as well. I work in the south. But I've been in Galway and Donegal.
No regrets, Jane.
Oh gosh, no.
You're glad you didn't spend the last 30 years in the bank.
No, not at all.
I'm pretty glad you didn't do that.
But look at the dairy cow. Look at what the opportunities it's given me. The people I have met, the places I've been able to visit, all through the dairy dairy cow.
It's phenomenal.
It's been phenomenal. As I say, I work all over Ireland and whatever. The European stuff's quite now. I don't go out there anymore because now there's more photographers come on in each country now. But when I went out, there wasn't a photographer in France, or there wasn't one in Spain, and they've come along now. And that bit, the opportunities I got was I met the countries I met, the people I've met, all through a dairy cow. So no regrets.
Is there any? This is the third. No, did I ask it last month? I can't remember if I asked it last month. What is the one piece of advice that someone's told you that you wish you'd never listened to, and or it's something that you did listen to and you think, no, I shouldn't do that anyway? Is there a bit of advice?
That's a good question, Laura.
I can't. I wish I hadn't listened to it. I didn't.
Yeah, and you think, I wish I'd never listened to them. I should have just done what I said. I thought I should do. Should have just went with my gut.
No, I usually just do. I usually go. I'm
Don't listen to anyone.
Not that I don't listen to anyone. I can't. Like I need to think of that. There's nothing that comes to mind. I remember getting a bit of advice right at the start, whatever, and they said, stick to cows, Jane, never do horses or dogs. And that was a good one because it's very hard to get paid there and whatever. And I'm not saying whatever, but that was one of the bits I got was with your picturing, don't do horses or dogs. And I've stuck to that. Apart from it, I did Salvi's dog, the late Salvi, the character. I met like Salvi Esquerdo as a character, some people will know. And he had a black lab dog that he showed quite a success. I remember he phoned me one day, Jane, will you come and picture my dog? So yeah, I went and did his dog for him.
He was a great guy.
Yeah, so the odd thing.
Did you need 4 people on that as well?
No, I didn't. I got his dog. I got his dog and whatever. I've done the odd sheep for people because you've been on doing cows, like old Keith Jemison. When I used to get into Annan, he had pedigree Texels before, like there was calf and whatever. And occasionally,
that would be quite similar, getting the side shot.
Yeah, it just is whatever. But he would ask me to do his sheep and whatever while I was in doing the dairying thing. So yeah, I've done a variety. I've done horses. You've been on places and somebody says, "Oh, Jane, will you come and do my horse?" I'll try anything. I'm not whatever. I say I've done the odd wedding for friends.
So you don't really do people.
No. It was like I did. It's just people. I did what?
Other than the scantily clad women and the British look.
But I did.
That's a great story.
I did my cousin's wedding, and my granny was there, and she was 92 and pretty deaf. And you're doing all these family lineups, and there's only one picture. She's looking at me, so I just superimposed that head in every other group and things like that.
She's got the same expression and everything.
Granny, will you look at me? And the head's going everywhere. So yeah, no, I don't. And I said, weddings are a nightmare. Because it's not my thing. And I did a few for friends at the start, and you come with double or treble maybe the amount of images you actually need. And it's a nightmare if you give people too much choice. So because I was really nervous, it wasn't my thing. I took way more than I needed to. And then to wheedle it down to ideally 100 or 200 images, that was just too much. It's a lot of work. But then doing the cows and whatever, I've struggled with editing. It is keeping on top of the editing. Because you sit at weekends and nights. You're on farm during the day and you sit at weekends and nights.
I was going to ask you that, Jane.
Huge part of it.
You spend a week going, in Ireland or through the country, and could you take 50 pictures in a week?
50 cows.
50 pictures, and you get back to the office.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of work goes into like edit. So how much time goes
about
into
20 minutes to half an hour each cow, because more or less now people just want to do the concrete, even though it's dry, the weather, you can get in a field. Fields are quite uneven, and just the time and whatever. And people now that it's digital and whatever, we just go to a bit of concrete. We take a picture if we can on the same day. They're best seen. It could be a field miles away, but you're not taking the cow there. As long as you take it in the same light, you can put them together, and we do that. And so it takes you about 20 minutes, half an hour to do each image.
Your 50 pictures that you've taken, you've another 24 hours.
I really struggle.
24 hours of work
when I get so far
that.
behind. There's a few girls I can get and they'll do the initial cutting out for me, but I'll always finish it 'cause it's my name. But that's the biggest thing. It's the whole editing, and that's why I had a conversation with a girl at the weekend about doing wedding photography, and I said, never. I even doing shows, usually do the Scottish Calf Show and the Northern Calf Show, and you like ring shots and things like that. And but coming back to whittle it down, it's just that. It's just the time. Yeah, so I've been asked to judge the showmanship at the All Britain this year, the colour bead showmanship.
Oh, you'll enjoy that.
Yeah, I will enjoy it. I've done the hosting one already and whatever, so it means I won't get the Scottish calf. I'm not allowed to go to any calf shows, so I can't see any of the handling this year. So I'm not. I'll miss the Scottish calf show, but I won't miss the editing.
To see it fresh and not known.
I won't miss the editing of the pictures, but I'll miss it first. So yeah, I've been asked to. That's September, so something to look forward to. But no, I've done. And I was down at the rally, the hosting Young Beaders rally at the weekend, and they have the field to photo, so I was doing the photo part.
What is that?
It's amazing.
It's a great weekend. Well, it's a great competition. Started back, I think, by Gordon Wilson and Michael Armstrong. So training the kids how to Probably was a lot to do with marketing in the background. So getting their animal,
They get
halter
given
it,
a calf. They
clipping
get
it,
given a halter calf
clipping
supplied
it,
by farms.
washing it, and getting it ready from field to photo.
So they're judged. There's two people, somebody holding and somebody clips it in the morning. So they're given these calves. Breeders have brought them in, and it's usually at a market or something.
Yeah.
So this was Saturday, Bakewell Market. And the calves are all allocated a calf, and they're given this calf, and it's the first two. It's a team of five, and from each club you can have an A team, a B team, or a C team, and they go and there's 5 in it. So they clip it, and somebody holding it, and then there's two different people. It's gone to get washed, and then it comes back to the clippers for the final prep and the top line, and then one of the team members does the showmanship, which you judged. Was it a couple of years ago when you did that?
I did the showmanship.
So then they come out and do the showmanship, one of the team members, and then the last event is they get a block and they have to take a picture of their
They
calf.
have to take the photo.
They have to, and I judge them.
And you judge the photo.
So there's 5 of them. They get a little camera, and then they've got somebody in the dress, so they've got.
But it's
yeah.
nice. So field the photo, and it's training them like about market.
Yeah, and
it's
they
really,
love it.
really
It's
good.
a massive, and then yesterday they have a massive national stock judging competition. So it's a 2-day event, and they come, and it's a brilliant thing because it's kids from countries from all over the UK and Northern Ireland, and there's a team from Southern Ireland.
Yeah.
And like they probably don't see these kids very often, but it's such a great environment. Their kids are running, they're meeting up people that they haven't seen forever. It's such a
It's nice to understand the whole process as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And appreciate what,
No, it is.
you know,
It's
what
so
you do.
competitive.
Yeah.
So it was good. So yeah,
That's a
I was
cool
just
competition.
watching it. At one point, it was the B team, and there were little kids, and there's 3 of them all round one front foot, trying to move one front foot, and all you saw was 3 backsides in the air, and I think, oh my goodness. So yeah, it was fun, and they've got their shaking their bucket, and they've got their branches to shake it to get the ears forward, and they're all trying really hard, and then they get a picture.
What do they use now, Jane? Do they use they used to be the disposable camera. Do they use their
They
phones
still
now?
got, no, they won't. They're only allowed to take 3 images seemingly, and they've got old disposable cameras that kept breaking down, so they're going to have to look something for next year. I thought the phone, but their argument is they could do a bit of editing the phone
Yeah.
before they hand their picture
Okay.
in to get judged, and they're trying to stay away from that. So they're going to look in. I think they said their marketing department at Hosting UK's got 2 or 3 old cameras that are proper cameras, but they don't use anymore, and they'll have to use that because the batteries kept going, and some of the teams went in and there was nothing on their card.
Oh, dear.
But saying that is, somebody said they're not used to working cameras; they use their phone for everything.
Yeah, when was the last time
So
you took a photo on
it was interesting, and then I go and they put their best image in, and I view their image and whatever, and judge.
The standard is
It
super
is
high.
actually. There's a few pictures that you thought you could use. You could use that in a magazine. It was good. But
What's-
quite a lot of the kids work with me, and that's the difference. A lot of the ones on the teams, I picture it there, they show it, whatever. So, and yeah, it makes a difference.
What can you give us any insider tip as a photographer? Because you know sometimes when you see like pictures set in sheep and beef and things like that, there's actually a dog out of shot.
Yeah,
that's made
no,
it be
well,
alert, or that somebody's. I'm sure Wayne Hutchinson's told me before that he sometimes uses a football and he kicks the football and suddenly the.
We start with.
Is there any little things
we
that
start
you
with,
do?
We start with a bucket of nuts. Quite often a branch is a good thing because you want the head alert, and a bucket of nuts, quite a lot of cows will dive forward trying to get in the bucket if you come close to them. Whereas if you come with a branch above them, it will lift their nose and lift their whole head up. And then if you go back and shake it, I'm looking for a nice long neck, alert head, and then the ears forward. We've used mirrors, we've used blankets, coats, calves. Sometimes if it's getting another cow that's waiting to get done, bring out in front
you
of
see
it.
that a lot, don't you?
One tip: do not use a bull calf.
Have you
No.
tried that
No,
before?
I did it. Pissed down the back of my
Yeah.
neck.
Do you know what? Do you know what? Glyn knows Gaston Wallace. It's another story. Glyn knows a guy, Gaston Wallace, in Northern Ireland. Gaston's a character. So we weren't getting these cows. He says, Gaston, go and get a calf. Go and get a calf. Gaston came back with a chicken in his hand, and he's got the chicken by the 2 legs, and he's waving this chicken about in front of the cow. And like I didn't get the picture because we were all the team were just so busy laughing. And whatever.
The poor chicken.
I know. And this was, I told him to go and get a calf, and he comes out a chicken. Another story we had, is going back to another story, thinking an issue. It was pre-digital, and I was working for the Moat herd, which used to be over in Northumberland. And I think it was on Bank Holiday Monday or something. Quite often, before digital, they would want a cow taken in a nice location. So we'd trailer the cow up and we'd take it to somewhere. So they wanted it on this park, which was quite full, being a bank holiday. I think it was a Bank Holiday Monday, and all these people about. So we had permission. They were all with them. We always had permission. Some of the places to go to, And so we went and we trailered and we got the cow off and whatever. And they had a jetty. And I thought, oh God. But anyway, we'd like the cow in the jetty. So that was fine. And all these people are just sitting there. The whole park's full, just thinking, what are these idiots doing? So anyway, got the cow in the jetty, and she was good. She stayed in the jetty, and just to take a picture of this duck and her ducklings went back in the background. So I got a super picture.
Nice.
Next thing, some spooked her. She stepped off and she's in the water. But the thing is, I didn't stay behind my camera. We all just ran to the cow. I wish I'd stayed and got the shot. Your instinct is to run to the cow. It wasn't that deep because it was up to our waists, but everybody just had to jump in the water and get this cow out.
That's one thing. Han Hopman has got some great pictures of like cows in ditches when they're photographing.
It's amazing.
them.
Like it was pre-digital before you did that. We used to trailer cows everywhere. And there was one I did, I can't remember, it was Shropshire, a dispersal, and the guy had always wanted pre-digital, a cow done in the river. So we did it. I can't remember. It was a really good herd of cows, but we were talking right at the start. So he said, Jane, he handed me, I said, sure. He says, he handed me a pair of wellies. You might need these because you might have to go into the river. I said, that's fine. So we went down and the cow wasn't going to stand. So there was a lot of gravel. So we banked up a bit of gravel in the river. So the cow was literally just the water was covering her by an inch. And I'm looking at these wellies and I'm looking at the water and I thought, oh, stuff it. So I just kept wading in. I got water was in the wellies. It was up to my waist. And I got the shot.
You got the shot.
But you know, this day, loads of folk when that came out, nobody believed. They all thought it was digital, that I had done that digitally.
Nowadays, there's a lot of that now.
It is, and it is. Yeah. And I hold up my hand. It's so much easier. And like, because we used to have to trailer cows here, there, and everything, or walk them over a field and whatever. And you do it. But that was so indignant because people generally thought that. I said, I was in that river up to my waist with a pair of wellies on, full of water, doing that. So yeah, there's great things and things like. Fortunate, I've never done these things or got the places I was still working in the bank.
Great story.
Yeah, so cool.
And what's the future hold for Jane Steele?
Well, Jane Steele, as long as she's fit to do it, I hate the editing side and the bookwork side. I was sitting doing my VAT return and invoice, and I hate that. But I enjoy what I do. I get the thrill of going on a farm. Maybe you've never been, walk around and you think, oh my goodness, these cows are great. Or you find one, and I still enjoy that and the people and whatever. So as long as I'm fit to do it, I will continue to do it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's nice to see that you have that.
Yeah, it's still
that buzz and enthusiasm.
I always say the date that I don't get that is the day I finish. Yeah. But I still get.
Don't finish, Jane.
Ever. There's some places you go and it's always hard work, and some place I must admit recently I think, oh, why am I here? Because your day's going pear-shaped and your day's going wrong and everything, whatever. But I just thought,
life, isn't it?
No, do I need this? But yeah, no, I enjoy the people and the friends I've made. I don't hardly stay in B&Bs anymore. I stay with people. I just take a bottle of red wine and on you go. And the friends I've made through this and places to stay and whatever. So no.
You can tell that by the way that you talk about what you've done and things like that. There's a great passion in it.
It is. And I've always said, the day I don't get the buzz and the day I don't enjoy going on farm, get my overalls, going on and going in. Because you're going in to see what you find. You don't know what you're picturing. So you're going in the shed think, oh, what am I going to get today? And I still get a buzz from that. Still enjoy that. And as long as that continues.
God only knows what assignments you're going to get now if people hear this podcast.
I'll stick to
you might have given people some
I've
ideas.
always been that. Like I'm willing to try. Jumping on a plane and going to Dresden when I hadn't really done much. It was like, but yeah, you had confidence at that age and whatever.
Dr. Edwin Bradder was a real character.
He was one of life's characters. And that was he ran the company. He was the CEO of the company. And he had quite a vision. And he was quite a way ahead of his time and things like that. So yeah, it was enjoyed. And they latterly then started bringing embryos in from everywhere. They did, yeah. And brought a lot of He was instrumental in getting what were very much big, like ex-communist farm, whatever, bringing in good cows from Canada and America, bringing in embryos, establishing good show cows. And he was that. So yeah, you got a lot of that latterly. So no, they were the great days. As I say, I met a lot of friends. And yeah, so I enjoy like the people I've met, the places I've gone, the cows that it's been fortunate to picture. It's been amazing. And I'm still enjoying it.
Well, Jane, thank you very much for coming in. And I hope everyone that's listening will now know the face behind that famous Jane Steele signature.
No, I quite like being incognito to it, actually. I have no social media presence, nothing. I quite like being
She's like the Banksy of cows, isn't she?
She's the Banksy of cows, yeah. No, but thank you very much. And I've really enjoyed catching up.
Reminiscing, actually.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Big thank you, as always, to our sponsors of this podcast that make it possible. They are, Glyn?
Herds Media. Big thank you to Ali from Herds Media for once again producing the podcast, and a big thank you to H&H Insurance for supporting the podcast. Without them, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, these conversations would not happen, whether you wanted them to or not.
Yeah, and yeah, I really enjoyed the catch up with Jane. I've known Jane, for a long time. I've always, I think she's number one photographer. And yeah, great person to work with and a great person for our industry. So yeah.
Yeah, some insightful stories there. Did you even learn something there?
I did actually. Yeah. some of the stories I kind of remembered, and yeah, that picture of Gaston Wallace with the chicken was very funny.
Let's all just spare a thought for that chicken. As always, thank you very much for listening or watching, however you have consumed this podcast. If you haven't already, please hit the follow button and share this podcast far and wide. And we would love to have you as a listener. Thank you very much, Glyn.
Thanks, Laura.
You have been the one and only Glyn Lucas.
And you've been the one and only Laura Miller. Thanks
Bye,
for
guys.
watching, guys.